Hey everybody, I wanted to do a quick video to talk about upcoming nationals, January 2019 in Florida. So there's a lot of talk and decisions that need to be made by teams as far as who they will participate in, whether it be the USFTL's nationals in Tampa or the Flag Football World Championship Tour nationals in Orlando. They're both going on at the same time. I wanted to throw my 2 cents in there. A lot of times I have to remind people what the Women's Flag Football Network is all about, and we're all about supporting women's flag football. So what I tell teams and players and coaches, anyone who asks me which ones do they think they should go to, I tell them this. First of all, I say, you need to do what's best for your team, or go where you feel is best for your team. But I ask you to use your experience and your knowledge to make those decisions for what's going to be best for your team. You guys know that the USFTL has been doing this for 45 years now, and you know, they had been the only game in town, so to speak, for the East Coast Nationals, and so everybody's been going there, and that's more or less because that's where you had to go. Now you have the Flag Football World Tour, who's been in business for about 2 years now, and continue to push the flag football agenda in a similar stance, but kind of bringing it different. They offer things that USFTL hadn't previously offered. But as the women's flag football is concerned, and you have to remember, we have a smaller community than the men's do or than youth does. The women's have a smaller community, so splitting up teams, some teams going to one place and some teams going to the other place, can basically just hurt the game. Because therefore you'll have, 8 teams at one and 10 at another, instead of a good 18 teams all together. But it's also about, what you feel best at. Some teams may not want to go where the big dogs are going. They want to take a chance to go where maybe some of the teams are not going, so maybe it better their chances and the outcome of the tournament. It all depends on what your team is looking for. But what I do want to say is use your experience.
Watch out, vehicle stopped on shoulder ahead.
Sorry, I'm driving. Use your experience and those who have the interests of women's flag football in mind. You have to ask yourself, from the women's perspective, what will each tournament offer you as women? How priority is the women's divisions for each organizer? You know what the USFTL has done. They didn't really have to step up their game until competition came along. So you got to ask yourself, would they have stepped up their game had Flag Football World Tour not come in and offered a different kind of viewpoint or vantage point of how to throw a tournament? The answer could be yes or no. Everybody changes with time. Then you have to say, well, Flag Football World Tour is relatively new with the women's division. So, how do we know they're going to do a good job in putting together a women's division? So you got to think about those things when making your decisions. So as far as the decision that I've made, and I've already put it out there, that any tournaments that are going on and have a conflict with another tournament that I have an opportunity to support, I'm going to support the tournament that I feel is the best for the women's game. I don't think about what they're doing for the men. I don't think about what they're doing for the youth. I think about what they're doing for the women's game. And so, yes, I put it out there that I will be supporting the Flag Football World Championship Tour Nationals this year in January. So what are some of the reasons? Well, first of all, before I start giving reasons, I'm going to say that I'm not going to badmouth anyone, but I do have inside experience for what I've experienced with one, association and another.
Watch out, vehicle stopped on shoulder ahead.
Sorry, once again, I'm driving. So, my experience and what I've experienced has led me to work with Flag Football World Tour, because I think right now they're really doing things to push the women's agenda. They've actually come to me and asked me for ideas and what do I think and what do you think the ladies would like, what do you think the ladies would not like, because they actually tried to do it without those of us who have been in the women's flag community for a while, and it didn't work. So when things don't work, you can do one of two things. You can stick your heels in the ground and say, well, I'll just do it again, and eventually they'll come. Or you can say, okay, evidently I didn't know what I was doing, so let me find some individuals who are used to dealing with that particular obstacle that I had. And so that's what they did. They came to myself as well as Mashonda Gilmore and asked for our opinions, and then said, okay, if we gave you the ropes to run it, would you like to run it? Well, yes, because I want Nationals to be the best experience for women's teams, except when it comes to my tournament in Vegas. So, yeah, they gave me the rings to help run their event. So definitely, I feel that in my heart, I have the best intentions for the women's games, and by giving me the support and so to speak, control to help run it, that made the decision easier. Now, of course, I'm not taking over the way Flag Football World Championship Tour runs an event. I'm not going to change their motto of how they have everything set up. But what I can do is help tweak things to be geared towards the women's game. And that's what I want to do. This is not my tournament. I'm still a contractor for them in their event. But the fact that they listen and will pay attention to the ideas and concepts that we bring is important to me. So I got to watch how they run a tournament in Indianapolis. And though we didn't have the amount of teams show up for the women's division that I felt really should have come out, I got to see how they run the tournament. And I got to see how they do everything.
Stopped on shoulder ahead.
How they got to do everything in the background. And that was what was important to me. I got to see a lot of things and how things were ran in the background with the USFTL. Of course, a lot of us remember the lights going out in Sarasota and how that happened. And did any of you guys get an apology about that? What happened afterwards? Problems happen, but it's all about what you do after the problems happen. So you have to think about those things. Are you a client or are you a paycheck? A paycheck, hey, appreciate your money, deuces. A client, you're going to apologize and say, let me see what I can do better, and here's what I give you to show you that I'm serious about doing it better. What do you get from each entity determines where you stand with them. In my opinion, I'm a small business owner, so I have to treat my clients like clients and not like a paycheck, or they won't come back. They'll buy that one photography package from me, and then they'll be like, I ain't dealing with this dude anymore. So I can't afford to treat you like that. I have to, any problems that I have or you have, I got to resolve and assure you that I'm going to make sure it doesn't happen again. And that's with any business, from something as small as mine or something as large as a flag football tournament. So you have to take that in consideration when you're deciding where you're going to go. You have to take
Watch out, vehicle stopped on shoulder ahead.
You have to take the leaders of the event that you're going to and take those into consideration. And I'm not speaking ill of anyone, because honestly, I'm not sure who's running the women's division in USFTL. So I can't offer opinion or viewpoint of that. I can offer an opinion and viewpoint of who's running the women's division for Flag Football World Tour. So when I say you have to consider the leaders, I'm saying you have to consider me and what I've been doing and trying to do for the women's game for the last few years. If what I've been doing is not something you're associated with, that could be or you're interested in, that could be a part of your decision to go the other route. But if you choose, sorry about that, I got a phone call, so I got to paste this back together. But what I was saying is, if you feel like what I've been doing doesn't relate to you and it's something that you're not interested in, then me being in charge may not matter to you. But if you feel like where I'm trying to go with the game, where I'm trying to take it, and what I'm trying to do with women's flag football in the future, then you may want to consider coming to the Flag Football World Championship Tour just for that reason. Give me a chance to let you down. However you want to view it, however you want to look at it. But anyway, I do want to say that USFTL has done a lot of hiring, a lot of adding people to their staff. I know that they're coming up with a different model. I don't know what their model is. I just know that they're doing things to enhance their product. And what they put out and let you know is something that, it may also help you make a decision for where you want to go. But I'll just end this really by saying, make your decision for what's best for your team financially and for what you're looking for in a tournament, but also use your experience in the companies that you've dealt with. So if you haven't dealt with Flag Football World Championship Tour, you have no experience with them, but you may have some with me. And if you have dealt with the USFTL, then use your experience that you have with them to base your decision on. I look forward to seeing all of you who come to Orlando and those who go to Tampa with the USFTL. I hope you have a great time and enjoy your tournament there as well. We're all about growing the women's game to be huge throughout the world, and both of these tournaments will play a part in how the women's game is viewed going on in the future. So I want everybody to be successful. More than anything, though, I want the teams to come out feeling like they got their money's worth, even if they don't win, because everybody's not going to win, but just feel like they got their money's worth. So that's my 2 cents on nationals. I hope you take with it and run. One of the things that I would say don't do is don't wait to see where everybody else is going. And the reason why I say that is nobody's going to commit, because everybody's waiting to see where everybody else is going, and then commitments are going to happen at the last day. And I can assure you that one entity is going to have a cutoff date and say, look, this is it, this is when we're going on, and the other entity is going to leave it open to the last minute just so they can get as many teams as possible. So what do you want? You want the product where you can wait to the last minute and then they figure things out once they got everybody, or do you want the group that's going to be organized and have everything set for you when you get there? You base your decision on that as well. But make your decision, pay your deposit, pay your fees, get your team ready, get your hotels ready, whatever it takes. And I'm looking forward to us having a great nationals this year. I'm looking forward to some exciting things with Flag Football World Championship Tour this year. And for those of you on the West Coast, I'll see you in a couple of weeks for the West Coast Nationals. But until then, Norman Carter, CEO of the Women's Flag Football Network. I just want to give you my 2 cents on nationals. Thanks. You guys have a good one.